If you work with limitations or are struggling with any kind of limitations, you're going to really appreciate this video. It's a wake up epic all around realism and limitation. I'm Alex Iglesias, creator of Wake Up Epic and Being Epic, and we're looking at the 60th hexagram. We're looking at the 60th hexagram through embodiment, specifically through the bottom of the top trigrams. Also, we're going to use the words that come from Human Design and Gene Keys because they do such a great job at articulating the expression of these hexagrams. But there's something unique about stepping into the embodiment of it. Let's dive in. The first trigram, the bottom three lines, is yang, yang, yin. So it starts forward and up and active, and then yin, narrow with some sense of focus. So with our body, that brings us into a mind-body state of being in the world, an active agent with some focus. What does that sound like? What does that feel like? Try it. Be in the world, be active, have focus. Wake up the next day, get on your to-do list, focus on your vision, be in the world, be active, get focused. And in there, of course, is a lot of room for how you're going to go about doing that, how much flow, how much vigor. There's so many possibilities. What we can all step into is the space of being active in the world and focused. Now, in UZAZU, this is called channel, and we're channeling a sense of purposeful contribution. This is a space of providing value. This is a space of sharing, asking and receiving. This might be me coming forward to give, to create, to contribute. This also might be you are giving to me, and I'm coming up to connect to you. So there's a lot of rich exploration. The top trigram. The top trigram is yin, yang, yin. It pulls back away from you a little bit. And in pulling back, it brings the attention over here to self, to me over here, and you over there. Then we're up, we're active, and we're narrow and focused. So it's self, active, focused. Try that a few times. Self and active and focused. So can you see that there's one dimension different? There's one part of this that's different. And that is we're going from the channel to what's called pillar. From forward and active and focused to back and active and focused. From purposeful contribution with you and exchange to motivated potential, empowerment over here for me. Little difference, but we could spend quite a lot of time digging into this. Now, what do we get when we put the two together? We start with channel, we move to pillar. Well, we get the shadow of the gift in the city as described in Gene Keys. We get limitation, realism, justice. In Human Design, the whole thing, and in the I Ching, the whole thing is limitation, and a key piece is acceptance. Let's see if we can find that embodiment, or let's find that in the embodied story here. To do that, start with channel. Pause for a second. Imagine you're in an active contribution. You're doing something purposefully. That could be writing an email, creating a vision, making a phone call. It could be many things. It has a sense of purposeful contribution and usefulness. Now hold that state. Kind of let that be the background to come from. And shift gently back to a strong, empowered, strong stance that we'll call pillar. Try it again. From forward and active and engaged. Shift back a bit without totally separating. And feel just a sense of resulting empowerment. Do it one more time. So one thing that's happening is we're staying narrow. There's something important in this hexagram about the narrowness of it. So what happens if we feel limited? We're feeling constrained. There may be a structure that we're like, oh, this is really horrible. I don't like this structure. That structure might be mental structure, emotional structure, societal structure. And therefore, this thing feels limiting. as a lot of people teach, limits or constraints actually free us if we have the right mindset, if we have the right relationship with it. So we get this shift from the shadow of limitation to the limitation being a problem to the energy of constraint actually stepping us into reality. So how many of us have wake-up calls in our relationship, with our finances, with our past, with our choices, where we come face to face with what actually is, and how much of that requires so much presence and courage. So we start from a place of recognizing your contribution, and then bring that into a place of empowerment. Some words that could go with this: I'm making a contribution, I'm making a difference, and I'm empowered. And there's a directionality to that story. We're starting in the contribution and ending in the empowerment. And I'll bring this into mobility and exercise in just a minute. The last thing here is to find a sense of flow for yourself with this. This is how you'll make this practical and start to generate a lot of benefits. As you go from one to the other, once you basically have the idea with your body, slow it down and start feeling the transition. It's not one or the other, it's the synthesis of the two that make up the energy of this hexagram. It taps you into the wisdom of the mystery, the wisdom of your body. Once you've got a sense of being present with this experience, you can start to ask some important questions and to notice where, in your case, are you limited, and that's a problem. Where is there some structure and a constraint that actually brings you more in alignment with reality? Is there any collapse for you as you go from acknowledging contribution and difference and impact? And is there any collapse? And if you can try the collapse with your body, it may bring to the surface areas that you're collapsing mentally and emotionally, where you're not actually handling that transition from what you've done that's really well, you've done well, what you've done that's been valuable and beneficial, and how you take that and bring that into your being for the next cycle, for the next contribution. So it's very, very rich to keep playing with. Let's touch on mobility and exercise. Won't be a workout, but let's touch on how we can think about this and how you can bring this into the rest of your exercise and movement if you wanted to transform your exercise into something more transformational. The movement patterns here go from arms in extension to arms in flexion. So that's one. Same thing with the core and the body. We're going from some extension in the spine to a little bit, mostly neutral, but a little bit of flexion in the spine, a little bit of a yinness. Similar with the body, with the legs, we're moving from flexion and extension to the hips to more pure just extension. So it's pretty linear, and we're playing with flexion and extension a whole lot. Not a lot of rotation. A few moves that you can use are bicep curls, rows, pull-ups to start playing with that. You can also turn that around and press. So triceps, chest, press, pushes. So that's a great way to do this. Full body with, you got a TRX or some bands, you can push and you can pull. We can take that out of that particular plane of motion and do bicep curls, of course. We can start to mix that with lunges. So these are ways to align your exercise to accentuate these themes. And that helps you evolve, that helps you explore, that helps you start to get at it from different angles. In the lower body, one great exercise that really stands out is Warrior 3. Coming into a balance, having one leg back extended, reaching the arms out, adding some movement to that or doing it still. In both cases, it narrows your focus. Warrior 1 is so challenging for balance. and to extend spine, stabilize core, extend legs all at the same time. There's actually a lot going on. It's a very challenging position and posture to stabilize. And we're looking for that here. We're looking to step into some complexity and find the empowerment. So it's a great way to practice that body mind state. Give it all a go, see how it goes for you. If you work with the 60 for a few days in a row, a few minutes at a time, what you'll find are where you need to change your relationship to limitation, what part of reality or you can be more real with, and ultimately from that Siddhic perspective in the Gene Keys, justice. Where can you come into alignment with what's right and just, with integrity? And keep in mind the narrowness of this transformation in this case. Let yourself embrace structure, constraint, limitation. In other words, make choices and see how it can serve you. This has been a wake up epic around the 60th hexagram. I'll post a few other videos here that you can test out and experiment with. Let me know if you have any questions and what you'd like to see more of in these experiences. They're all designed for you to accelerate, evolve, and bring your contribution to life. Bye for now.